Hello, welcome to another Tableau video. This video is specifically for a friend of mine named Leonie. So Leonie, if you're listening, this one's for you. Basically, the problem is we have some sort of office space and we're trying to calculate something based on location, right? Or we want to map the office space because we want to calculate certain things. Now, it's nice to have them in a table or a bar chart, but to see things visually in terms of geography or position, it's a whole nother thing, right? So the example I got up here is just an office space that I took from the internet. So let me see if I can find it. So just this one here as a sample. And I wanted to plot actual values in here. Now you got a number of applications you can use this for. For example, you have a warehouse or you have a factory, right? Or you have an assembly line. Anything where location is a factor, you want to map that, right? You want to be able to do it. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. It takes a little bit of work, a little bit of Excel know-how, but nothing major. You don't need to be a rocket scientist or anything like that. And it also involves a little bit of playing and tweaking. So let's just get straight into it. So you can pretty much do this for any office space. So if you type in office blueprint call center, this is the one I got. And basically what you can do is if you copy this image, right? So what I'll do, yeah, copy this image and put it into Excel, okay? And what we have to do is we have to prepare the coordinates, right? The X and Y positions of all of this, okay? And the way to do it that I found, the easiest I found is if you make this like a square, right? Oh, actually, no. You want to press this button right here, okay? Just so you're selecting everything. And you want to make everything like a square, as you can see, okay? Then you want to paste your image, okay? So I got my image in there, right? And the next thing we want to do is get rid of all this white so we can actually see the squares in the back. So what you do is you click your image, you go to the format menu tab. Actually, I'm going to change this from purple back to red, right? You got your format menu tab and you're going to go to color, okay? So go ahead and click that and you're going to see this button right here, set transparent color. And what that does is for all the white, it's going to make it see-through. Okay, it sets as a transparent color, right? Then what I want to do is kind of squash that in there, right? And the whole concept is if you make the smaller you make your squares, the more precise your coordinates, right? It's just like watching TV. The more pixels, the better, okay? So what you can do is you can zoom out a bit, right? Maybe not that much, right? We don't need this anymore. And you can make this bigger, right? So again, you're going to use a lot more pixels, okay? Right? And then what you want to do is, it's probably easiest with your keyboard. Just put a little X where each of these seats are, right? So I'm going to use my keyboard. This is going to take a little while. Won't take too long, but won't be quick. So I'm just putting little X's exactly where these seats are, right? One there, one there. Okay, one. Maybe I wish I could sing, because then at least I could sing to you guys while we do this. But alas, God only blessed me with Excel skills and not singing skills. Cruel, cruel world. All right. So that's one side of the office done. Let's do the next one. All right. By the way, if you do know a little bit about Tableau and you know a faster way of doing this part, I would love to hear it. So feel free to send me a comment through YouTube, just so I can kind of learn as well. I'm still learning. This is actually only one of the few times that I'm actually doing this. Never had a massive need for it in the past. So, okay. So now I've got all my desk position. Now, before you move this image, what you need to next do is set your coordinate system, okay? So if this is your image, the very first position, all right, let's just say in there is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can keep going, or you can use the fill handle, right? Which is if you highlight it, you see this little square thing in the corner. Just grab that and go all the way like that. Okay, and that's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, or whatever. And then here you want to do the same thing. So just on the side of the image, you want to go 1, 2. Actually, no, this will be this will be starting at 2 because this position will be 1, right? 2, so 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to go up. Yeah, usually I would zoom in, but I kind of want to show you guys like a top view, right? So now I can move this, right? And these are my seats here. That's an extra one there. Okay, and I just want to make sure they're all kind of aligned. Let's move this one here, just so it looks pretty when we finish it. Let's move that one there. Move this one here. Right. Let's move that one up 1 and down 1. Okay, and let's move these 2 up. Right. Just so it all kind of looks right. Okay. Then the next bit's a little bit tricky. Okay. Actually, we'll skip this. You want to grab this image, cut it. Right. So right click, cut. Right. We don't need it in here anymore. Open up Paint. So it's going to go Paint. Right. My trusty Paint, and then paste it in here. Okay. Then what you want to do is, actually, let me do that again. So paste, and then you want to crop it, right? Which is this button right here. Okay. So that it's precisely the size of the image. Then you just want to save this. So I'm going to save it as Office Space. Yes. All right. And we don't need this anymore. Okay. This next part's a little bit tricky. Anytime you see a hash, it means that the number just doesn't fit in terms of appearance. Okay. So for example, if I make that wider, the number will come up. All right, so let's make that bigger. Now we need to actually grab the coordinate of this. And the easiest way I found to do it is if you go equals, right? And you use the concatenate function, which basically means you're just putting things together, right? So concatenate, right? Which I learned this from a Romanian guy in Germany. And I thought concatenate was a Romanian word because it's just a funny word. So turns out it's not Romanian at all, and it was quite embarrassing. So we need the X value first. So you go all the way down to where the column you've selected is. So it's this one. And then you want to press F4 on your keyboard, right? And what that does is it changes the referencing here. So you want to lock the number, right? So you can see the $sign in front of the number. That means every time I move this, I copy this cell, it doesn't move the number, okay? I do have absolute referencing video on my channel, so check that out if you're not too sure. Then I want to do comma and add a comma in between them, right? So in quotes, right? Then I want to add the Y coordinate, which is this one right here, okay? And this time I want to lock the letter. So if I go F4, 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 it locks the letter. And then bracket. Okay. Now what you'll notice is it says 843, which means if I highlight these, oops, hang on. If I highlight these two, right, it's going to go position 8 in the x-axis and then 43 in the y-axis. Okay. Then we want to copy this formula to every single position that we have. Okay. So we copy that there, there. Okay. And what happens is each time, because of the way the formula is constructed, they will always pull out the correct X and Y position. Okay. Okay. So each one now has an X and Y. The next step is to actually grab these values and put it into a table. So the way I like to do it is, first of all, before you delete anything, highlight the area, go copy, right click, and then use this one, paste values. And what that does is it gets rid of the formulas and just makes some static values. So you see there's no formulas in there. Now I can get rid of these. All right, don't need those no more. I don't need those no more. Okay, now I'm gonna put this in a list. So first, before I do that, I'm gonna actually label these desks. So we're gonna call this desk number 1, 2, actually let me get my mouse, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Then we'll go from this side. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Okay, so now we got desks. Now let's just put them all together. So I'm just going to grab them one by one. Right now, this may seem kind of annoying, and it kind of is in my opinion. Like, it would have been great if you could just kind of click on the image and it will automatically generate the X and Y coordinates, but you know, we don't have that. But apart from that, you only got to do this once, really. I mean, you're not going to be changing office spaces very often, so you don't really need to do this all that much. But after this step, it's pretty easy after this. It's probably just another few minutes of tweaking with Tableau, just making sure the ratios and that are right. Let's cheat on this one a little bit. All right, let's combine these. All right, let's combine these. Okay. Go. All right, and let's grab this. Okay, so now we have it in a table. And what I'm going to actually do is I'm just going to copy this into a new sheet. Okay, and the only reason is because we've done so much formatting here that Tableau might read them as empty columns and rows. So I'm just going to get rid of that. All right, so now we have our sheet here. So let's just go ahead and label it. So let's call this desk. Whoop, desk. And now this has got like commas in it, right? So I want them in separate columns. So I'm going to go into data. I'm going to go text to columns, right? Which is this button right here. And that's just going to split them using the comma. So go delimited. Next, I also have a course on text to columns, so check that out if you're not too sure. I want to set this to comma. Next, finish. And it just splits them up. Okay, so the first one is your X, and next one is your Y. Now, the last thing I want to write is, for example, each one of these is a desk, right? So I'm just going to create like a random value here and pretend in this call center, it's the number of minutes on the phone, right? For an like the average minutes per day over a month. Okay, so I'm going to just use the random function. So random between, right? And the lower limit is going to say, let's say the lowest person was like 20 minutes on average per month, and the best person was like 200. Okay, let's do that. I'm going to copy these values all the way down. Okay, and then I'm just going to copy paste the values, right? And that's it. That's the setup. Okay, so now I'm just going to save this. Oops, hang on. F12. I'm going to save this in my downloads. I'm going to call this desks. Yes, yes. And because I already got Tableau up, let's close this. Don't need that anymore. All right, let's save. And I've got the previous one open. So let's just close that for a second. Just make sure I'm closing the right one. Yep. Let's close that. And let's save this under desks. Yes. Okay. And that's pretty much most of it. All right. So now what we're going to do is go into Tableau. Now we're going to actually set it up. All right. Okay. No. Right. And then you want to bring that Excel spreadsheet in. So I'm going to just drop it. Oh, hang on. Didn't select that. Just drop it in there. Right. I got my desk, my X, and my Y. And then I can go sheet one. Okay. Now, these, because they're numbers, they're going to go into your measures section, right? Which is okay. But I want to bring that into, I think X is going to be on your columns. And I want to set this to, which one is it? Dimension, right? Because they're going to be individual points. And then I want to set this to discrete. Is it discrete? No, I don't think I need to change that yet. So just leave that as continuous for now. Okay, Y's we're going to bring in here. Again, we're going to set this to dimension. So now we have the positions. Now, if you remember, this is roughly where our seats were. Okay, now the next thing is to actually overlay the image. Okay, so what we do is we go into map, background images, and sheet 2. And this is basically saying, I want you to put the image on this sheet, right? Or in this data set. Sheet 2, and you're going to come up with this. Now, before you click image, just move this to the left, and I'll show you why it's a good idea to move it just to the side. When you go add image, right, you're going to have this. And each time you adjust it, it's just easier so that you can see what's happening on this side, right? So let's go ahead and find that image, right, which is this one right here. Okay, so I got my image. And these limits are supposed to be set to your X and Y. So you remember how we set X going this way and Y going that way? So you just select these as your X and Y. So X and Y, and if you label them X and Y, it's automatic. And this is the ratio. So for example, we went here, let's say we went up to 50, right? You want to set this to 50, okay? Because it starts at 0 and goes to 50. So in that case, it's going to be 0 to 50, right? And then the bottom one, same thing. We went from 0 to, let's say, 50 as well, okay? And the first one you set doesn't really matter because it's never going to be right unless you're like a perfect guess, but it's never going to be right. So you just press apply and just see what it looks like. Straight away, you can see that, okay, it's not really overlaying well. And this is the part where you start adjusting it, okay? So I'm going to start with the X one. Let's go 30, apply. That's a bit too much, so let's go 40, apply. And you just adjust it bit by bit, 45. And eventually you'll get it, so 50. So you can see it's coming in slowly. Let's do a big number, 60. Ooh, almost there, 65. Is that going to be too much? Oh, maybe 64. 64 looks good. All right. Now vertically, they seem to be off still. So let's go 55. Okay. Maybe 56. That actually looks pretty good. Maybe just a little bit more. Let's go 57. Oh, actually, no. Other way, 55. Maybe 54. Right. That actually doesn't look bad. Maybe gotta adjust this one. 65, 53. Nope, other way, 54. Let's try 55 again. That actually looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. I'm not gonna be too fussy. Now, the next thing you want to adjust before you get out of here is your washout. The washout adjusts how visible the image is. And this is really good because usually blueprints are quite, bright. They're very interesting to look at. But you want your data, your overlay to shine through a little bit better. So probably 50% or 60%, 70%, something like that is good, right? As you can see, the data is a lot more visible. And especially once we change it to red, it'll look even better. Okay, so let's move that there, go apply and go okay. We got that in there, we go okay. Okay, we're doing good. Now, the next thing is we want to introduce some sort of data. So just treat this as any other XY scatter plot, right? So remember that desk number that we put in? You can put that as a label. So if I grab desk and drop it in label, I've now got my desk labeled. So we know what number. The other thing is, if you see some of these that just need adjusting, like this one, probably these four need to go to the right a little bit. This one needs to go up. That's pretty easy to adjust. And this is where the desk number comes in. So if you look at 10 and 12 and just open up that file, just look for 10 and 12. Just put a filter on this, right? So there's 10, there's 12, and just drop the y-axis by a little bit. So make this 5, make this 5, right? Save it. And then when you go back to Tableau, just hit refresh. And you'll see that these two have now moved, right? So that's another way you can kind of tweak it, right? To make it really, really perfect if that's what you want. Now, the next thing is, that value thing I put in, that could be anything that you want, number of calls they made or how much time they spent on lunch, whatever it may be, right? You can have as many as you like. I'm going to drop that into size, right? And I'm also going to drop that into color, right? And I don't want this kind of circle. I want this one, okay? Because I want it to be kind of like a full circle. Then I want to adjust the size. So let's go and make it a little bit bigger, okay? Because I really want to show, all right, who are the bad people, okay? Let's get rid of this one. Let's change this. So I just double clicked on that. So in this case, let's say these are number of calls that they make, in which case green is good and red is going to be bad, right? So low values are red. If we go apply, we can actually see, and I'm just going to hit full screen here, we can actually see who's doing bad and who's doing good, who's doing really well. So 22 is doing really well. There seems to be an issue over here. So I don't know, are they talking too much? Is the internet really bad? Is there phone line issues down there? Because everywhere else seems to be good. This person is probably lazy and doesn't want to do their job anymore. And this person is probably doing something as well. But you can see straight away that geography plays a really big part. Bar charts can't show the exact same thing. And I actually demonstrate that. So let's just get out of this. If I go into a new sheet and just go like so, let's make this dimension and discrete, right? And we do value, right? That just tells me highest to lowest, right? But it doesn't show me the geographical relationship, right? In here, I can straight away see that, oh, these four, something is happening down there, right? Look at this person, he's done 2 calls, right? Is there something happening down there? Is there something interesting? Yet, all the way down here, we seem to be doing fine. Do they have a good leadership there or something, right? Or like, is this the manager? Is that the difference? You know, like these are the kinds of questions you want to be able to answer. And like, you just can't do that in bar charts. In any case, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's a little bit longer than what I usually do, but it's also because this is kind of more of an advanced feature, so it does take a little bit more. In any case, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, send me some comments what you think, or if you want me to do anything else. I am going to do some more examples of this. I'm thinking of doing like a factory or something, so stay tuned for that. Hope you enjoyed, and see you next time.